Welcome to Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas, the go-to podcast for aspiring and seasoned leaders in the quick service restaurant industry. Each week, we serve up actionable insights and proven strategies to help you lead smarter, build stronger teams, and elevate operations. Whether you're taking your first steps into leadership or refining your expertise, we're here to fuel your growth and spark big ideas. Let's dig in.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas. Riley Shine with my lovely host, Eric Jaworski.
Lovely.
Thank
you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever been called lovely before. Yeah.
Well, today's the day.
Today is the day. So did you hear that, Nikki? I'm lovely.
Well, apparently I just learned something, that he's the plant keeper, the flower, what do we call that, botanist?
Yeah, I keep our plants alive.
Yes.
We have three plants at the house, and my role is, and I don't know if I think I just took it. No one actually assigned me the role.
No one said, hey, you're in charge of watering the plants?
Right.
You just kind of, hey, I'll water these.
Well, then I saw this commercial where it has like this whole like water bucket inside the plant thing where you just put the water in and then it so I'm like, how do we just maybe transition to that? Right. But no, we talked about just having goals, right, and having responsibilities. And I don't know how the whole plant conversation came up, but ultimately, I've been watering these plants for years, right, and I've never felt the appreciation from my family for keeping the plants alive. So a while back, I told them, I'm like, hey, just so you know, right, like I've been keeping this thing alive, and they're like, but you're supposed to. Like, that's your job. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, a little appreciation goes a long ways. So I think sometimes just in the real world, we do things and we expect our leadership or our bosses to see that, right? We expect for them to come to us and show their appreciation, but ultimately they may not even know that you've been doing these things, right? So sometimes to expect that, right? To expect that recognition and that appreciation without maybe telling your leadership or your boss or somebody that, hey, you've been doing these things, because they just didn't even realize that I wanted appreciation for keeping the plant alive.
Yeah.
But,
I think too, to your point with the not knowing that they're doing it, right? That's a part of self-ownership, and advocating for yourself in that sense. Like, I get it, it's your job, it's part of your job, but if you're crushing it, if you're really working on it, if you're proud of it, tell your leaders that.
Yeah.
They would want to know that.
And I think what we miss out on, and I have to be better at it too, right? Like going to our managers, going to our crew, going to our team and saying, hey, what are you looking to accomplish today? Or what did you accomplish today? Or as they're punching out, hey, what are you proud of? Right? Just asking them those questions even, because people won't always go to you and want to show you what they do. Or, right, they just do it every day and they don't think twice about it. So I think we just have to be better at that at an organizational level, right? Sometimes we're so quick to even give out like the documentation. When I say documentation right away, I guarantee everyone's thinking negative, right? But like there is positive stuff that we can do. There's positive documentation that we can take, and that's sometimes hard to remember, right? Yeah. It's hard to remember that our people are accomplishing things.
Which is so funny because we're quick to document when things don't go well. So when we have a chance to maybe make a better impact with that. And I was going to say too, I don't know if you feel this way, but when we do ask those team members those questions, what are you working on? What are your goals? What are you looking to accomplish? The answers that I've gotten are just awesome. And it's just like, this is so cool. Yeah. Like I'm proud. I'm happy. Like, this is awesome that you're working on that.
Yeah. And usually it's surprising, right? Like, like I didn't even know you were looking to do that. I didn't even realize that, right? Oh, no wonder that I've never even seen that, dirty before. Well, no wonder, because you're the one who's been consciously cleaning it, right? For weeks, like watering the plant, right? Like,
exactly.
I didn't even know you were looking to keep those things alive.
Yeah.
So, just better conversations with our team around what they are doing.
So today we're going to be talking about kind of our vision as our organization, because we've been working on that together. And then we're also going to talk about wildly important goals. But we'll get to that in just a second. What is our vision, Eric?
Our vision is empowering and developing our team to deliver world-class service on both sides of the counter. And as we establish this vision, as we make that more of our priority, it becomes more of our North Star. Like now we know what we're trying to achieve, and we're able to talk to our team about that rather than it just being this get through the day type conversation.
Wallpaper, because you can have wallpaper up and just say, we want to be the best company there is.
Yes. Why wouldn't you want to be?
Why wouldn't you want to be? Why wouldn't you want to hit those goals and crush and make all that money, right? But the difference, I think, for us has been the attention that we place on it. And you just said it perfectly. You said we use that as our North Star. Everything we do as an organization is because of our vision, right? So
and the podcast itself here, right, is to help get our message all the way from the boardroom to the crew room, right? Like the goal of this is to really develop and empower our team, because for those that want the leadership training, for those that want the skill set, how do we give them those avenues? Because not everybody always has that. And as we're really looking towards that vision, that North Star that we have, we're going to be able to get that information to everybody. And regardless, we have to start living the vision, right? And I love what you said. We can post this up on the wall, but if our team doesn't know it, if we don't stay true to it,
or act like it, stay true to it,
yeah, it's just garbage. It's just wallpaper.
It does more damage than good,
Sure.
So that's our vision. We're really excited to really use that as our North Star and point to that as we coach, empower, and develop our team. So now we'd like to talk about our wildly important goals.
A wildly important goal, and just to kind of put this into perspective, we've had wildly important goals as an organization for going on 2 years, actually, a little over 2 years now. And what that is it's just trying to find one measurement, right, that you kind of overwhelms you, right, or takes a lot of your time or a lot of your attention or a lot of your energy. So what we're able to do is just more have a focused approach on whatever that goal might be. So we started with breakfast speed, right? Yeah. And we said, okay, enough is enough. We don't need, the company harping on us. We don't want to be slow. We want to be fast for our guests. So we said, okay, how are we going to get this to be like tying our shoes? Because let's face it, when you go to tie your shoes, do you have to think about it? You just do it,
just
right?
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of a sudden we're spending so much energy on trying to tie our shoes. We're trying to be fast during breakfast, but we're not quite getting there. And when we said, hey, as an organization, right, we're going to accomplish this.
We're going to focus on this goal.
Yeah, good. That's a great way to put it. It's a focused energy, right? We're going to rally the troops. We're going to talk about this relentlessly. But we have to talk about it all the time, and we can't let these distractions get us. So ultimately, over the last couple of years, we've had some different wildly important goals. A lot of it was focused around speed and guest satisfaction, and a couple other miscellaneous things. And then now our goal, our ambition as an organization is to reduce our turnover, our trailing 12-month turnover. In the fast food world, if you don't know this, turnover, it's like we have a revolving door, right? We hire people, and honestly, the majority of them don't last much more than the 90 days. And if anything, they don't much last a year, right? So we have 1,500 employees, and last trailing 12 months, we've hired 1,500 employees. So we're at about 100% turnover. That's nuts. It is. It's absolutely nuts.
And that turnover, that amount that you hired is expensive. As your restaurant expensive, like your P&Ls or whatever, and then the organizations too.
Yeah, and it's just so. When I propose this, and when I talk to people about, when I talk to the company about it, or other organizations about this, they look at me like I'm crazy, right? Because ultimately, 100% isn't bad. Like we're at 85 to 100%, right?
Fluctuates in between there. Yeah.
It's not a bad number for organization standards or restaurant standards, right? But I want to get it to 30% because there's areas out there, there's restaurants out there that are under 30%. So all of a sudden now I'm looking at this as more like a 1 to 2 year goal though, right?
Right.
And I know that sometimes from an ambition standpoint, it's hard to look 1 or 2 years out, right? Like for the last 20, 30 years that I've been doing this, it's honestly been hard to just get through the day, much less the week, and then to look, 6 to 12 months ahead of time.
It is hard to put that in perspective.
Yeah.
Those goals that do take, that just inherently the goal itself will take time. It's not an immediate thing. It's not like let's be fast this shift. Right. That you can, if you have everything set up, if you have all those boxes checked, you can relatively get that goal.
Yeah. So you mentioned the shift, right? Because I think there's something to be said there, right? Like a wildly important goal to you may be just kind of trying to get through every day, maybe the week, right?
Yeah.
Like let's talk about just trying to get through the week or for the month, right? Like if you want to have the best shifts, right? Like let's say that your goal is to run the best shift on whatever measure that you maybe want to measure that on, right? You want to be the fastest, you want to be the most hospitable, you want to have the best satisfaction scores for your customers. Then let's put that out as a goal, right? Let's put that out as maybe a 30-day goal. And then every day you work towards that. So how do you keep it simple, and how do you show success along the way?
Well, and I think I do want to point out for these WIGs, so to speak, right? Wildly important goals, that it's the priority that you place on them. Because we have goals. We have so many goals in the industry. Be this, be that, be fast, be friendly, right? So what a WIG is you place the importance, the priority on one thing. So you mentioned customer satisfaction for 30 days, right? So you're talking customer satisfaction every day for 30 days. And then you ask, how do you measure that? Well, you need a scoreboard.
Yeah.
You need to be able to rally the troops and show, hey, here's where we're at. Here's where we need to be to reach this wildly important goal.
Right. And share it with the team. Share it with like whoever your team is, whether you have a team of 2 or 20 or 200, it doesn't matter, right? Like you have to share what you're trying to achieve with your team, and you have to look to get their buy-in. You have to explain the whys and how they can support you, right? Because some people want to support us. They just need to know what they want to support it on. And, an example of a goal, right? Usually we talk training, right? Like everybody always throws this umbrella of like, oh, I want better trained team. Okay. Then just where do you start? Then start.
Yeah.
Right? Like we talk about cross training, for example, right? Like I want all of my team members to know everything. All right. Then
cool. Then every shift, make it a priority to teach somebody something new.
Yeah.
Or cross-train them on a different station.
That's it. Just teach somebody something.
It doesn't have to be, oh, we're taking an hour off the floor to do this training. Bring them up for a little bit and show them this stuff. Now, obviously, follow the coaching steps and follow the training method,
of course,
for that thing.
Yeah.
But after that, cool. They know how to do this thing now.
Right.
The next day, do this thing.
Well, that's how I learned. I remember learning the kitchen because nobody would really like teach me, right? Like
you've said that before.
Yeah, I wasn't getting those shifts, but like just one thing at a time. Literally just learned one little procedure at a time, right? One coaching thing at a time, one position at a time, right? Like it doesn't, because let's face it, right? We go up against labor pressures, we go up against profit, we go up against customer demands, and we have call offs, and we have all of these things, but like those are all just reasons to potentially not do what you're trying to accomplish. Yeah, and we let these conflicting priorities, like I've talked to other organizations, and we let these conflicting priorities take away from what we're trying to achieve to show ourselves, right, that we're successful, and to show our team that we're successful.
And little do we all know that all it takes is a little bit of focus. It's that focus that can really derail you. Because you're right, there are so many distractions, so many things in the whirlwind, we'll call it, that pull us away from this WIG or this goal. So I mean, it does take a lot of work. Like we're not saying it's easy peasy, but what can you start doing today? Is it 15 minutes, back to the cross-training example, is it just 15 minutes a day with somebody, for a month? Or what does that look like for you, and stick to it? Because then the next time you come up with a wildly important goal, you're that much better at it, and you're that much better at staying focused on it.
I like the 15-minute thing, right? If we could just take the 10, 15 minutes every day to just have that focused energy on trying to accomplish something, right? Because honestly, as you accomplish these things, you're going to have that self-appreciation too, right? Like you don't need to necessarily go to your boss and be like, hey, look at me, because most people aren't that way, right? But like if you're feeling accomplished, then you can go to your team, and then you can go to your boss, because let's face it, some of your bosses aren't going to buy in, right? Like, what do you mean? No, that we can't do that. We can't afford that.
No, we have to focus on this. We have to do all these things. It's like, well, leader, I've been focusing on this thing for 30 months, and look what I was able to do.
And I would just say, like, if your team, if your boss has something that they're trying to achieve, then find out the whys and go after it with them or for them or whatever that may look like. So, we want leaders in our organization, not just managers. And leaders will inspire people to do more, right? Like, we just don't manage them. We don't just, yell. We don't just tell people what to do. If you truly want employee engagement, then our job is to help inspire them to do more. And having an achievable goal over a sustained amount of time to help our team show success, like, I don't know, it works.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And we're proof of that, with what we've done with our speed and with our WIGs.
Yeah.
You might feel like you're just going through the motions at this point in time, right? Like you show up to work, you put food in a bag, you're having fun with your team, you're maybe crushing some goals that the organization or your GM set for you. But if you feel that way, find a WIG and challenge yourself to focus on that.
Yeah. And if you don't know where to start, reach out to your leadership. You can reach out to us through our feedback channel, but you just make those decisions, make that decision to just go after something that's really been just absorbing a lot of your time, right, and energy. Because once again, right, if I'm going to go be tying my shoes, it takes me all of 30 seconds. And that's what WIGs do, right? Like that's where if you want people to be cross-trained, you can get there, right? If you want people to be fast, if you want people to be hospitable, if you want, like, think about it from an inspection standpoint, right? Like when we have inspections, because there's call-offs and there's this and people don't wear uniforms and people don't listen, like we can talk about all the things that people don't do. But guess what? On the day of an inspection, what happens?
Everybody's there.
Yeah. And everybody is wearing their uniform. And everybody's following the procedures. And everybody wants to shout out targets. And everybody wants to shout out, like all of a sudden, everybody wants to do the right thing.
And why is that different than any other day?
But it doesn't, and that's the thing, like we can make, we have extra people, we have this, we have that. No, you have a focused energy. You have the team rallying around one specific goal on one specific
crush
day.
This inspection, yeah.
Yeah. And we can do that any day. You can literally do it every day.
Yeah.
You just have to
make that decision.
Yeah. For sure. So
very cool. I mean, WIGs, man, they're crazy. So for the listeners, just in case they want to learn more, right? More about WIGs, more about these wildly important goals. There's a book that we have mentioned on the podcast before, 4 Disciplines of Execution. We'll put that up on the screen in the notes as well if you are curious to learn more about the application of this stuff.
No, I agree. And, there's other podcasts. Just type in the search bar, right? If you go to Google, wildly important goals, I guarantee you're going to find something.
I've also heard of BHAGs.
No, what's that?
Big, hairy, audacious goals.
Oh, I have not. No, a fun way to say it.
I heard that one in a book I was reading. I was like, okay, that's a WIG, but big, hairy, audacious goal. Okay.
Right. It's the same thing, right? Like you can make, you just need a place to start, right? Show a little bit of success to yourself. Show some success to your team. Show them that you're going to have a little bit more of a priority, right? That the way when they come to your shift, they know what your expectations are, right? Like we upset, I think, a lot of our employees, right? And we get a lot of turnover because they just don't know who we're going to be.
Yeah, they're going through the motions.
Yeah.
And I think just to re-hit on it, if your leader doesn't give you a WIG or isn't providing this focus for you, it's your shift. Yeah. Run it how you want to run it. Right. Typically you probably have at least work with the same handful of people on your shift. And you mentioned however many that is, 2, 10, 15, 200.
Yeah.
But set those expectations with your team. Do that shift sheet, have everybody in place and pulling in the same direction, and you'll be successful.
Yep. And within our organization, I'm going to tell you, profit, speed, and voice. But those are operational expectations. As you go from manager to leader, as you have focused energies, you're going to really drive the employee engagement, right? Like you're going to make better decisions. You're going to be more consistent, which is going to help us achieve our wildly important goal as an organization, which is to reduce turnover, right? People won't necessarily leave just because of money, right? But they'll leave bad leadership a lot faster than.
It's like the number one reason in the industry, really. No, this is great stuff. I really, the WIG is really important in moving the needle with, those metrics and those things that you really want to focus on.
I agree. And just as my parting thought, right? Like give yourself a reason to get out of bed, right? Like give yourself a reason to be intentional about what you're trying to achieve.
Get excited.
Yeah.
It can be fun.
It's honestly,
I remember that time for us and currently, like it's fun. And, the WIGs are fun. You can just wear wigs. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. That's like I said. Give yourself a reason. Give yourself a reason to get out of bed. Give your team a reason to want to work with you, right? To work for you, and you'd be surprised what you can accomplish when you have the entire team pulling in the same direction. When you have your entire shift, because like you said, right? Like if your leader won't do it, if your boss won't do it, you can do it, and you can do it with the people that you oversee, right?
Absolutely.
You don't have to wait.
Yeah. So that's a little bit about WIGs, guys, and big, hairy, audacious goals, apparently. Thanks for listening, and stick around for some more practical leadership insights.
Perfect.
Thanks for joining us on Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas. We hope today's episode inspired fresh ideas for your leadership journey. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and keep learning with us as we continue to explore leadership in the QSR world. Until next time, take care and lead well.